saw something about bandages being removed from a Radio 1 playlist because of a war in the Middle East at the time or something. Is that right?
Yeah. The the war was starting right when we landed there. I remember we were doing Top of the Pops or CDUK, one of those kind of shows, and again, this was on our first time there, so it was just so wild, and I had just the worst jet lag. I could not sleep, and I just remember they had just started bombing uh, over there. I guess it was like Desert Storm or something, and yeah, it was just so crazy to see all this night vision footage of this, the US just bombing another country, just killing a bunch of people and putting it on TV. It just seemed so intense, and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, oh, I gotta get some sleep. We're doing this, Top of the Pops in the morning, but I could not sleep. And then yeah, we got added to Radio One, like on a rotation, and I remember the label was kind of like trying to put it in context for us, and they're just like, you do realize, like, Radio One, everyone hears this. A rotation means you'll be spun like 5 times a day, and like, you know, like people's grandparents are going to know who you are. And then like within a day or two, it got pulled because of the war. They just thought bandages was too insensitive, which is so ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh man, I always knew I should have changed that lyric. So that really kind of like shot us in the foot, because I think we would have been a lot bigger if we had had that A rotation, you know. And then another thing that kind of shot us in the foot was at the end of that album cycle, because we toured Make Up the Breakdown for Sub Pop for like a year, and then it was re-released on Sire, as I was saying, and so we had to do a full 2-year like promotional cycle on that record. And Dante, our guitar player at the time, was just so burnt out, and he was from an even smaller town called Shawnigan Lake, on the island, and so like he grew up in this tiny town, and he's just missed his friends so badly, and he's like, I have to go home. Like, it was like the most clinical homesickness I'd ever seen, and we were offered to do is it Jonathan Ross? Is that the one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember like Dante was like, I can't do it. I gotta go home. And the label was just furious. They're like, this is like, I don't know if it's true, but they're like, this is like getting Saturday Night Live, in the States or something. They're trying to like pitch us on why it's a really big deal to do this. And they're like, we will fly you home and fly you back for the performance, and then fly you home again, first class. And none of us had ever flown first class and we were just begging him, like, please, like, just do it. And he just stuck to his guns, and so we didn't do it. And yeah, the label was so furious about it that they essentially dropped us after that.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I guess that's just my way of kind of saying, like, yeah, doing press it's a big part of what being in a band is,
Yeah.